A lot of people walk the streets of downtown Boise and have no idea that such a big footprint of downtown Boise is heated with this renewable, clean resource that we take advantage of in a big way.
What is geothermal? Geothermal energy is the heat within the earth. How does it work? Hot water is pumped from a well in the Boise foothills. It is then brought downtown underneath buildings and runs through pipes, then goes through a heat exchange, which then removes 55 degrees to use it for heating, and then is pumped back in. This image is a closed loop system, which is what we have in Boise. The water is never exposed. We extract the heated water from the earth at about 170 degrees. It runs through pipes throughout the city, and the water goes through a heat exchanger, which pulls heat off of the geothermal water in order to heat the building.
It's a system that dates back to the 1890s when Boise began using geothermal heat for Victorian homes and the original natatorium. Then in 1983, Boise began the geothermal heat system, now holding the record for the largest geothermal system in the United States, bringing heat to 92 buildings in downtown Boise.
Why should geothermal energy be used, and why does Boise have such an availability of it? Boise, Idaho is located in the southern parts of Idaho, and for 10 million years, Yellowstone's hotspot spent its time in the southern parts of Idaho. Boise has been able to channel this energy and be able to distribute geothermal energy throughout the city. Boise itself had the world's first geothermal district established in 1890. Boise State University has a total of 10 buildings heated by geothermal energy, one of them being the ILC, the Interactive Learning Center. Right now, as Boise mostly uses geothermal water energy for space heating homes and building, we want to be able to distribute it further and enable people to recognize how good geothermal energy is and why we should use it in our day-to-day life, not just in specific things. If we are able to put this energy form into more areas of southern Idaho, it will be more beneficial to not only those who are using it, but everyone in the world. Every little step that we take towards net neutral pollution is beneficial to the earth and beneficial to ourselves. Boise had the first geothermal district, and if we are able to keep channeling this energy, we will be able to have more geothermal districts in the future and be able to heat more homes and heat more buildings from this energy form.
The pros of geothermal heat pumps include significant heating and cooling cost savings. It is environmentally friendly, and it works well in almost all climates. The pros also include that it is a relatively green energy source, it is renewable and sustainable, there is no noise pollution, it has stable energy supply, it is not dependent on weather conditions, and it has a low unit price for energy. The pros can also include the creation of local jobs and independence from other countries, as well as no dependence on fossil fuels.
So here are some of the cons involved with geothermal energy. First being the initial cost. To expand geothermal energy in Boise, it would be high initial cost, and this is something that's known amongst the geothermal community. Another main one is essentially a lack of public knowledge and education. Most people aren't aware of the geothermal situation here in Boise, that it's easily accessible, and obviously it is a renewable, sustainable resource. So that is a big con that we are running into at this point. Another one being geothermal is dependent upon location. In our case with Boise, this would be a non-issue because we have an aquifer right below our ground. And then establishing geothermal power plants it could potentially lead to environmental instability, potentially small earthquakes and things like that. Again, with Boise's situation, we probably wouldn't have to deal with that too much because we wouldn't be expanding in such a large scale, and we would mostly just be accessing the geothermal water to use for space heating and not for electricity. But let's have Mimi introduce Dr. Nick Hudema. I believe he has a few things to say about geothermal energy.
This is Dr. Nick Hudema. Dr. Hudema received his PhD in engineering with a geotechnical engineering specialty from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas in 1999. Dr. Hudema has been a professor at both Boise State University and the University of Northern Florida, and has also been published in over 10 engineering journals and articles throughout his career.
This is the question we asked Dr. Nick Hudema about the cons of geothermal expansion in Boise. Would there be any negative impacts from the geothermal expansion in Boise, and what would those be?
I don't think there would be any negative impacts.
Okay.
Right, but I think like all engineering, it comes down to economics, right?
So, you heard it right there, folks. It all comes down to economics. This may be seeming like a one-sided argument, but the con of initial cost is a big issue, and it's what's stopping us from expanding geothermal in Boise, at least at the rate that some of us would like. The questions are, where is this money going to be coming from? Will it fall on the taxpayers? And if it does, is there a way that we can have it not affect the taxpayers as much? These are some of the things we will be looking at. This is how the rest of our conversation went about the economical impacts of geothermal expansion in Boise. What would the economical impacts be, positive or negative, from expanding geothermal in Boise?
I think the biggest negative impact we have is basically this upfront cost.
Yeah.
Right, that you're going to have to run these lines.
That's my next question was, it's kind of known that, the initial cost would be expensive. How much would it cost to expand geothermal in Boise, and where would that money come from? And lastly, would there be a way to get the money without putting it on the taxpayers?
Yeah, that's a tough one, right? I guess if it was going to be expanded, it would, you would expand close to where it's already existing, so you could tap into it easily. And if you were on a commercial venture, right, you were developing, a new building downtown, then it could probably be feasible to do it.
Okay.
But probably for, a single family home, that is, right, that a single family wants to go as green as possible. That may be cost prohibitive. Geothermal may be cost prohibitive.
While geothermal energy is a clean and renewable source of energy that harnesses the heat from Earth's core to generate electricity, the use of geothermal energy has many advantages, including a nearly constant source of power and a low environmental impact. However, there are also some trade-offs to consider when it comes to the use of geothermal plants. Geothermal projects may need to consider the following environmental aspects, such as air emissions, land use, vegetation and wildlife, and lab subsidence. The upfront investment cost is also not small at all. Geothermal power plant installation costs include resource exploration and evaluation, well construction, field infrastructure, production, facility construction, and grid connection. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, the initial cost of land and construction of a geothermal power plant in the U.S. is about $2,500 per installed kilowatt. As you can imagine, the above process doesn't come cheap. The cost of such a raise is a significant investment for energy companies looking to generate power for geothermal energy. Geothermal power plants can easily be built in the tens of millions. Geothermal power plant costs are estimated at up to $5 million per megawatt of installed capacity.
At this point, you might be wondering about the opportunity cost. When a decision is made, the opportunity cost is the value of what could have been done with the resources that were given up during the trade-off. In this case, with geothermal expansion in Boise, the opportunity cost would be the benefit that could have potentially resulted from the taxpayer dollars or any money that came to our government agencies, our education system, health and welfare services, public safety, and things of that nature. Money that was otherwise spent on the geothermal expansion. The solutions that we have are mainly to bring awareness to the local community and businesses, get them to see the benefits of this resource, how it can positively impact our environment and the local economy. And we would be doing this and hope to raise money with the goal of having as little impact on the taxpayers as possible. Are these good solutions? And what other plans and solutions might you suggest for supporting geothermal expansion?
I think that's really the first step.
Yeah.
Is to bring awareness to people that, hey, there's this resource here that we could be using for all sorts of things.
I guess this could seem like a vague solution, but bringing awareness to the local community and businesses, getting people to see the economic benefits and the environmental benefits, this can really inspire them to take advantage of our geothermal situation in Boise. What we need to do is raise money. But the goal and the plan is to have as little impact on the taxpayers as possible. So lobbying for investors, getting businesses and organizations informed and excited about this. A lot of times businesses have to donate money in order to receive benefits from the IRS. This is something that we can take advantage of. What we can also do is have conversations with our local governments, convincing them to subsidize geothermal energy. This is another solution that supports geothermal expansion that we can really take advantage of. So, my Boise State UF100 group is taking a stance supporting geothermal expansion in our local community. We have the resources available, we understand the trade-offs, the opportunity cost, the issues that come with this, and we think we have realistic solutions to address them. So, we hope this video is useful to those watching. Please press the like button and subscribe to the channel. We would really appreciate it. We hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.